right, so next up is Dave on a very interesting topic. Before I was in beer, I was in the car industry, and Dave is going to talk about the world of autonomous vehicles in 2021. So looking forward to that discussion.
We're going to need that mic.
I'm handing it over.
Okay. No PowerPoint. We're going to stand. We're just going to talk about this for a few minutes and keep everybody awake. We're going to sit. Okay, we're going to sit. That's fine. These are creative couches for sure. So how many people here have been in an automobile or a vehicle without a driver? Anybody? Couple. John, tell them about your experience.
Well, about 18 months ago, we got hired to do a strategic market project for a very large global brand. And the CMO wanted to find out some perceptions of what people thought of autonomous cars. And I've done 3 experiences, and they're actually a lot of fun. The first one was about 15 minutes. The first 5 minutes was a bit stressful because you're getting in the car, you're sitting in the back seat by yourself, and you're totally alone. I don't know if any of you know there's 5 levels of driving. From level 1, which is basically you totally control, to level 5, where it's just absolutely, you're in the car, you're by yourself, and it takes away and does everything. So I'm sitting in the back seat, and then watched it go through a red light. I watched it turn right, and then I watched it do the obligatory in the United States, take a left turn with ongoing cars, and there were 3. And once you get through that first 5 or 7 minutes, you know, you're breathing a little less, and you're realizing what are the opportunities. And we were hired to figure out what are the marketing opportunities for that screen in that amount of time. What are things that can be done? What are things that people should be thinking about? Well, the second one was in a bit longer. Went into a shopping center, turned around, parked around in a shopping center, went out on a longer stretch of road. By then, I felt a lot easier. That 5 to 7 minutes had become 3 to 4. You are in control. The third one was a great experience. Over 45 minutes, almost 50 miles. About 15 minutes into it, I started doing a Skype call, totally lost into even thinking about what's going on, the person driving. My experience is I think it's, you know, they say by 2025, everyone is going to be experiencing this in some way. I think it's going to happen a lot quicker. I thought the Tesla speaker yesterday alluded to the impact of what Tesla's already doing when you buy a Tesla, how much they've already got you ready for the pre-programmed self-driving. So I think a lot of car manufacturers are looking at it and they're getting ready for it. The susceptibility is, how do you feel?
So very quickly, it was just like you were in the back of an Uber.
Except it didn't have a smell, and it didn't have someone who talked, and it didn't have all the
So
challenge.
better.
You know, you're by yourself. I mean, you sort of felt that way at first when you get in. The control, I think the biggest thing was letting control go.
Yeah. So this isn't going to happen everywhere at first.
No. It's going to happen in places like San Diego, in Phoenix, Las Vegas. London will be a little tough. Manhattan will be a little tough. San Francisco itself will be a little tough. Paris. But
the freeways, the longer commutes.
Longer commutes. I mean, your weekend place up in the wine country. Ideally, this is going to be great. You want to come back on a Friday. You want to come back on a Monday morning. You don't want to. You and Karen are there. You want to sit in the back. You want to get a lot of work done.
Yeah.
You're going to have that ability being on 101, and I think it's going to work very well.
So I can get done that work that I do at my first hour at work while I'm on my way and actually do what I want to do when I get to work.
Yes, and if
My
you're already
email,
and if you're
whatever.
already in a car that already has screens in the front seat and screens in the back seat for the kids, you're going to see what those screens can do as marketing opportunities. I think the exciting development that's coming down the pike, and you're already seeing it in certain cars, is Alexa's working with Ford. So that basically you can order through Alexa on your Ford while you're driving and be able to have that. I think it's even going to get better. We have Safeway. Safeway, I can go in, order on Safeway, go in, have it ready and delivered. Put it in my car. It's in the car itself.
Well, you can actually do this tomorrow. Probably you haven't thought about this, but your Alexa Echo will fit in your cup holder. So think about it. You know, some people we talk to are skeptical and some people are nervous. Sometimes the thought of this makes me nervous. But I have another thought too, which is that they can have my car when they pry my gear shift from my cold dead hands. You know, I like driving.
You like driving. People 45 plus are very comfortable driving. There is a whole generation that doesn't even think about cars. They think about transportation in its most raw form. I need to get point A to point B. They take public transportation. They use zip cars. They use Uber. They use Lyft. They don't even think about owning a car. They don't want that expense. They didn't want to be involved with all the things that go into it. In Singapore right now, there is a bus or a little bus system that's 6-passenger bus that you get in, and it's on very selected controlled routes that literally people sit in, they get 6 people, they have screens, and they go along these selected routes. And again, to take people's level of comfort, you know, and make them feel very comfortable that you don't need to be doing. The rest of the world will embrace it quicker than the United States.
So in the U.S., some 75% of the people drive solo, and you won't need that windshield or windscreen anymore. You can put a new screen up there. So talk a little bit about what some of the manufacturers are talking about. It's not just going to be a little screen in your dashboard. There's got a lot of capability here that people are talking about building in.
You're going to be able to do a lot. Think about it, a very large iPad screen, a Mac screen, an Air Mac, and be able to interact, to order, to shop, do work, send email, communicate, phone. I mean, I think the shopping opportunities and the ability to do a lot of work are going to be the things that are going to drive. The interesting study, there was a report that came out on Tuesday from one of the Detroit car trade press that said the ironic people that will be least likely to get excited about this will be men 25, 30, and the most excited people are going to be 2 segments, women in their 30s and adults 50 plus. I want to get into the methodology. This was a quick short article, because it goes against everything that you would assume in it. And it articulated that millennial men, 25 to 30, did not want to give up that control.
The sports car crowd.
Yes.
Well, I can see it for the older folks who get to a point where their mobility is taken away from them, and you're going to give it back to them.
In a big way, in a big way. What is most people's fear about being in a car like this? Is it control? It is control.
Or is it being in an accident? Or
But what is that? Isn't that the case now? I mean, don't you know, part of the, and I think that was the initial, you realize that you're letting go and your defenses become a bit less defenseless and more offensive because you are paying attention and you do have the ability in some instances to control. But you still have that same fear of someone else not doing something. True, I have not been on the streets of San Francisco. This was San Jose and San Jose South in California. I can't imagine some of those hills in the city I live in, this working.
On a freeway, they're talking about, when you get critical mass, when most or all of the cars are autonomous vehicles, you're going to be able to put more cars on the freeway. They're going to be able to go faster. You're going to be able to put more lanes on the freeway, and it's going to be more efficient.
And the ability to be able to do a lot. I mean, that Skype call literally for about 15 minutes, totally engaged, wasn't even paying attention. It did everything it was supposed to do, right turn, left turn, go through red lights, typical drive functions, and you felt okay. I got out and said, oh my gosh, I want more. Car manufacturers are concerned because there are some issues, but I thought the Tesla guy yesterday really talked about the statistics and the power of, the challenge of accidents and what this could do to potentially help reduce some of that.
Well, one of the concerns is being disintermediated because when you look at the changes that happen in the radio market, only one of the tube radio market players made it into the chip radio market as a player. Some of these car manufacturers are likely to get disintermediated along the way by technology companies. And one of the advantages the technology companies will have is in the data and monetizing the data. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think that's going to be one of the exciting things about it, and and the ability to know a lot about what you're doing, where you're going. He alluded yesterday that they were following all their Tesla drivers around the peninsula, primarily from Palo Alto all the way up to Danville, California, and they were looking at all these Tesla drivers and what they were doing and the amount of data that they were collecting. I thought was relatively strong, and then what they're able to give their user back and the experiences. In a marketer, I'm going to have all this information. I think it's going to help me make better, intelligent decisions in an extraordinarily personal space. Think about it. We talk about the phone as a critical screen. I think the screen in that car is the most exciting thing that's going to happen in the 20s.
It's pretty amazing. What other thoughts do you have about this, John?
I would encourage all of you, if you get a chance, to try to ride in one. Let your fears get over your fears. I think you'll appreciate what it can do. There are people who are going to bring them out quickly in Boston, some suburbs of D.C., primarily some places in South Florida. There's a couple places in Middle England that they're going to try them. Every manufacturer is looking at how they can get them in and make you feel comfortable. What Dave and I wanted to do is have any of you have any questions about this? Yes, ma'am.